continue. Let's shift gears a little bit. We're going back to the US. We're going to Nevada, and we'll have Andrew Pollard join us. Andrew, you're the CEO of Blackrock Gold. You're exploring just outside of Tonopah, one of my favorite little towns in Nevada. And it's great to have you on. Thanks for joining us. And please go ahead, start sharing your story.
It's great to be here. I wish we were doing this over in Germany. It's been, it's been too long since we've been back there. I think the last time was probably in November of 2019. So hopefully we'll get to a point where we can get back to some sense of normal. But for the time being, I'd love to introduce your story to hopefully some new investors here and then update current ones, because we're staring down a few catalysts in the very, very short time here, which make it very exciting time to get on your radar. Hopefully we'll get some use out of our German listing today. We're traded on the Frankfurt under the symbol AHZ, but of course we're also on the Venture Exchange under BRC or on the OTC under BKRRF. Certainly going to be making some forward-looking statements, as I alluded to. I mean, we've got a lot of stuff that we're going to be looking forward to in the very, very near future, one of which is listed right here on the slide. We just recently announced a $9 million bought deal from some of the largest institutions in the gold space, which we're hoping to have closed by, I guess, the end of next week. So right now we're sort of in a reloading phase. This money is going to be put to good use, though, because we've got a lot of drilling lined up over the next 6 months or so as we strive to deliver a maiden resource on our project, of which you can see we made an exploration discovery on in around July of last year, which added around $100 million to our market cap in the span of, it was about a span of a week or so. This is a good time to be looking at us, simply because we've consolidated along with pretty much the rest of the gold and silver market. And right now we're trading somewhere right on the button of our 200-day moving average. So the price at which these institutions paid to get into our bought deal was at 72 cents. And I think that's exactly where we are right now. So we see a lot of value here. And as I said, we're going to be putting this money to good use in the not so distant future. So as Kai mentioned, we're a Nevada-focused company. We've got two main projects, but our flagship that's really emerged in the last 6 months or so has been our Tonopah West project. And that's the site of where we've made two what seem to be large potential deposits that now we're focused on proving up. So the tie that binds both the projects together is simply we're after high grades and big ounce potential. So both of our projects are low sulfidation epithermal, meaning these are vein hosted projects, and we think there's going to be some ultra high grades on which we've been realizing so far on early drilling. I'm going to spend most of the time talking about Tonopah today because, as I said, this is emerges our flagship project, and we couldn't have timed it any better in terms of when we got our hands on this project, because we picked it up in February of last year when silver was at its all-time low on the gold-silver ratio. I think it was trading at 128 to 1 silver to gold. So it's since gone on quite a bit of a move, and even though we're in a consolidation phase right now, I think most analysts think that silver is going to have quite the year ahead of us. So, when it comes to Nevada, everyone thinks of it for its gold endowment, but anyone that's been down there knows that Nevada to this day is called the Silver State. And it's called the Silver State for two reasons. One is the Comstock lode, which is the largest silver discovery in Nevada to this day. And the second reason is Tonopah, which is the number two largest silver discovery to this day. And that was really cut short, not due to Tonopah necessarily being exhausted as a district. It was cut short due to falling precious metals prices in the late 20s and early 30s at the onset of the Great Depression. So Tonopah, as you'll see, is literally halfway between Las Vegas and Reno. In terms of infrastructure, it doesn't get any better than this. We've got a highway that connects Reno to Vegas, goes right across our property, and the town of Tonopah is right next door. Tonopah to this day is known as the Queen of the Silver Camp, simply because of its, I guess, royal status in Nevada mining folklore. And I guess it's only right behind the king of the silver deposits, which would still be the Comstock. So we control half of this district, and this district, this time 100 years ago, would have been one of the most significant precious metals districts in the US. In its heyday, it was producing up to around 14 million ounces of silver equivalent per year. So it was a big time. It was a big time producer in the early 1900s, and it was actually one of the last district scale discoveries in Nevada prior to World War One. So as I said, in terms of infrastructure, it doesn't get any better than this. It's a silver project, which makes it rare in the sense that most silver's produced in Latin America. You got Peru, you got Mexico, you got Bolivia, places that often don't have infrastructure, don't have the rule of law necessarily, and don't necessarily have favorable mining regimes. Tonopah is in the heart of Nevada. We're literally got a drill rig set up in between a Comfort Inn and a Subway sandwich shop, and you get all of the benefits of electricity, water, people. It's almost too good to be true from that setup. So Tonopah itself, it produced commercially for about 30 years, and our property has multiple historic mines on it. So it's not a grassroots endeavor by any means. In fact, we had every reason to believe that the district was cut short not due to, I guess, lack of resources, but simply just metals prices. So when we started drilling in June of last year, we literally just set the drill rigs right up where the historic miners left off. And here's why we felt so good about it. The story of Tonopah can be told simply on this bar chart here. That black line there indicates the silver equivalent ounces produced. And what you'll see is they fell off a cliff right around the emergence of World War I. Obviously, that threw a wrench into things. But in 1923, silver prices absolutely tanked. They went from $1 an ounce down to 35 cents an ounce. Yet you had all of these operating companies spending significant amounts of money on development and never actually getting around to mining these mines on our property. And we could see that was simply due to the falling metals prices. This is what the district looked like in 1912. There were countless operating publicly traded mining companies down there, and there were some big players down there. We now control half of this district. So if you cut it down, we've got the western half of this district. So as I said, we've got the interest, the consolidation of many former operating mining companies down there. In fact, this is what our district position looks like today. We control the largest position in this prolific district, and we're the first group to go back in and start drilling into these historic mines on our property since production shut down. And so far, we've been nailing it out of the park. As I said, this isn't a grassroots endeavor. We've got, when we were lining up our maiden round of drilling, it's not like we had to do geophysics or early stage prospecting. What we did was we have over 55 kilometers of underground workings on our property to help inform the drilling. Meaning, as I said, what we did was we just literally pointed the drills right where they stopped mining, and we just picked up from there. So our property as it is now is we've got 5 distinct target areas. We started drilling last year. We set out to do a 7,500 meter drill program. We're only going to do 12 holes. We ended up drilling 30,000 meters at Tonopah between June and December of last year. And we've now gone from a maiden round of drilling, testing a few concepts to see if the history reports are right, to we've now said that by the end of this year, we're going to deliver a resource estimate on what we see as our biggest target on the property called DPB. So to go from maiden round of drilling to delivering a maiden resource estimate within 12 to 16 months is almost unheard of. But that just shows you the confidence in what we've been drilling so far. We drilled 50 drill holes last year, over 30,000 meters. We've now released 42 of those assays. We've got a whole bunch more in the lab. But what you'll see is we've been hitting mineralization at ultra high grades pretty much everywhere we've tested throughout the property. What we now know is that there's very little guesswork going on in our drilling, which is honestly unexpected as maiden rounds of drilling go, because what we had to do was, we had to see if things lined up with reality. We now know they do. We're hitting at such a high rate that we now know that our model is predictive. So we're going from testing to see if veins are there, to figure out which orientation they are, to now saying, okay, we know the veins, we know where they are, we know the rough grades. Now we're just going to keep turning them into Swiss cheese while we turn this into an ultra high grade resource. Now we've seen some significant grades up to 4.6 kilograms per ton silver equivalent. We've seen gold grades up to 26 grams gold, silver, pure silver, over 2 kilograms. So we've got our fingers, well, we've got the monster by the tail here in terms of what we're doing. And as I said, we're looking at really just trying to show new life in the historic mines on our property. And that's what we've got here with our Victor target. This is the site of our very first drill hole, which I mentioned to you, added a lot of excitement into our story. And that's where we encountered roughly 30 meters of just under a kilogram per ton silver equivalent. We've now confirmed this mineralization, and we've connected on it with countless more drill holes. And we're showing some big size potential here. But this isn't even our biggest target. Our biggest target, the one that we think is going to be the big kahuna for the entire property, is what's known as the DPB mine on our property. And here is where we've got 6 veins now identified. And we're hitting some serious grades, and we're showing some serious tonnage potential. So this is going to be the focus of most of our drilling this year, as we just keep drilling into these. And we're hoping to hit all of these veins over 600 or 700 meters every 50 meters or so. And once again, we've got some of our best grades on the property here, including 4.6 kilograms silver equivalent. So we keep doing this. We're showing a big tonnage potential. We're hoping to see something in the order of around 4 to 5 million tons. And if you average the grades out that we've been hitting so far property wide, we're sort of seeing anywhere between 750 to a kilogram per ton silver equivalent. So this has the potential to be a serious silver deposit, and that's what we're hoping to deliver this year. As I mentioned, we've got a lot of drill holes at the lab, which are pending assays. So as soon as we get this financing closed, we're excited to see what we've got waiting for us there. And then we're going to be deploying this capital right into the ground. We've got 2 more core drill rigs that have just shown up to site this week. And we've got about 40,000 meters of drilling that we're going to be delivering this year. And hopefully, we'll put out a resource in line with what we're hoping to, which would put this nearly in a league of its own, both in terms of size and grade potential. When you look at the premium that we should get for being in Nevada versus in other far-flung places, then this is going to be one of the top silver stories of the year, I think. So with that, I'll hand it back to Kai and maybe take a question.
Great. The most exciting silver story of the year. Can't wait to hear more. Andrew, really appreciate you running us through that presentation. We do have a few questions, and we do have a few seconds for those as well. And one of the questions is, what's the total cost per meter at Toneapple?
Yeah, we're averaging down there with the core about $300 per meter or so. But what we're showing right now is these holes are efficient in the sense that we're not really missing too much anymore. We've got a good handle on where we're going, and we know where the veins are. So now it's just we're really just drilling into these known veins just to try and deliver a resource here.
Fantastic. And knowing where to drill sort of leads me to the next question that we got in the chat here as well. And you have a lot of underground workings on the project as well, and trying not to hit them obviously is a goal of drilling, right? But the question is, any of the underground workings on your ground currently accessible?
Yeah, they're accessible. They'd be underwater, and I mean it would cost a little bit to rehab them up to standards. But certainly, what we're excited about by delivering this resource, we're hoping that that'll then give us the justification to start looking underground and maybe open things up or drive our own decline ourselves, which will allow us to then really start teeing off at these veins straight at their face with the drill rigs. And from there, once you're underground, it's a very fast track to moving things forward through development and into actual production and bulk samples and all that fun stuff. So right now, if last year was about making the discoveries, this year is about showing the market just how big they are. And next year, hopefully, we're getting to play with some cool new toys and then wearing hard hats.
Great. Good luck with that. Really appreciate you joining us this morning for the presentation.